This is a quick start video to get you up and running for your first trip on a PA12 or PA14 360. This kayak looks a little bit different because we've added an EVA deck pad kit to it. That's not going to come standard on this kayak. You will have standing pads and seat pads underneath the seat as standard, but the entire coverage is an accessory add-on. Most of what you'll see on the ProAngler 12 and 14 360 models is exactly the same as how the MirageDrive 180 ProAngler 12 and 14 is set up. We'll switch over to that kayak to showcase most of the standard features, but there are a few differences that we want to highlight with the 360 models. One big difference being in the installation and operation of the steering handles, and the other big difference in the drive itself. You've got a different shaped drive well on the 360s, as well as the unique ProAngler 360 drive that gives you infinite steerability in the drive. If your dealer didn't already unpackage your ProAngler kayak and do the basic rigging on it for its initial outing, your kayak will probably look something like this. If you have some extra packaging left over to take off of the kayak, around the handles or the bow and stern area, and you're using a box cutter or a knife to remove that packaging, just be careful that you're not cutting into the hole or potentially slicing shot cord or bungee or anything like that. I like to go in and remove the tape or open up the tape and the packaging with an upward motion, so I'm actually cutting away from the anodized aluminum H-rail and some of the other components that you might run into on the kayak if you're finishing the unpacking that way. We're going to start with the assembly of the 360 handle. So we're going to start on the port side of the kayak. I'm just going to reach in through the center hatch and press up on the 360 steering mechanism to expose this crank a little bit. Press up on that assembly. Make sure this pin, this stainless pin, is inserted through the top there, and then just pull up on the rest of the assembly. As you can see, I've pulled it all the way flush up against the inside of the hull, and everything's exposed properly. First, you're gonna stack the rudder steering handle onto this crank. And there's some little detents that line up in there. Put the pin in once again and pull it up. The 360 control handle has a detent that accepts the stainless cross pin here. So you want to make sure that stainless pin is centered over the shaft of the crank, and then get that to go all the way into that detent. And I've got the short screw included with your hardware kit inserted into the top of the handle just to make it a little bit easier for myself. I'm going to push down from the top and up on the steering assembly from the inside as I use this Allen key that's included in your hardware kit to fasten the handle to the crankshaft. So I'm just going to push everything down, and I'm going to thread right down into here. And when you get close to the end of the threads, you want to just stabilize the handle to get the threads to engage all the way. And you don't have to over tighten it, but everything should be securely stacked and operational. I'm going to put the sticker that's included with my hardware kit right over the top of this in the recess that's molded into the 360 control handle. And if you ever forget which handle's which, you've got a little reminder there. And now we're ready to put the steering knob on our rudder control handle. The steering knob is going to allow you to have your hand rested over both of the steering control handles and operate seamlessly. So, going to take the medium length screw that's included in your hardware kit. I'm gonna stack the washer onto the screw and put that in through the top of this. That's gonna allow it to pivot, so it's gonna be really comfortable to operate. And just with a Phillips number 2 screwdriver, I'm gonna go in and thread down on into the brass insert that's molded into the handle. And as I get to the point where I'm almost fully threaded in to the handle with the screw, I'm gonna make it somewhat snug, but not too tight. You want that steering handle to be able to swivel freely. So if you go a little bit too far, back it off 1/8 of a turn or so. And I like a little bit of friction, so I'm gonna leave it just about like that. And there's nylon patches on these screws to help them stay secure over time. You're gonna take this cap that's included in the steering handle and hardware kit, just press that right on in there, and this is a little bit of a softer rubberized material. Moving over to this side of the kayak, you've got a couple different options on the steering handle configuration. If you wanted to have the handle on this side of the kayak just flush with the rail, you can use only the handle and the short screw to install the steering handle. I personally prefer the riser on this side. It kind of brings the steering handle, the whole system, up to the same level as the other side of the kayak, and it's a little more easily reachable from the seat. Just like the detents on the other side, you're gonna make sure that the detent in the riser matches up with this stainless pin. So we've got it centered over the plastic part that sits over the rail, and I'm just gonna make sure that's lined up and that stainless pin goes all the way into the detent and seats securely. I'm gonna take my handle, and there's detents molded into this as well. I'm gonna stack that on to the riser, just the same way we'd stack the riser onto the rail. And then I'm gonna go in through the top with the long screw included in your hardware kit, and just thread on down in there until the screw is seated securely and threaded all the way in. The nylon patch is gonna hold that screw in over time as well. And then you've got a Flying H Hobie sticker that you're gonna stick over the top of this, right into the molded recess. You'll also find the transducer mounting hardware. It'll come with an adapter plate for installing a side imaging transducer, some extension tabs, and mounting hardware for traditional skimmer style transducers, along with the rubber grommets that you use for the through hole fittings. While we're in this area of the kayak, we're gonna go ahead and install the seat. So I'll show you how that adapts to the kayak, and then we'll go through some of the adjustability of the seat. The first thing to notice is that you've got these black plastic shoes that are anchored into the deck, and your seat has a fitting that matches right up with that. With your seat tilted forward, you're gonna insert the feet into the shoes and then rotate the seat back. And naturally, it's gonna wanna rest on the kickstand back here. One safety feature built into the seat in the event of a capsize is this leash mechanism. So you wanna slip this grommet right over the pin on the back of the seat frame and then fit this keeper right onto that. It's got a tab so it locks in. You've got a positive lock there, and the seat's not gonna come out. So always make sure that step is taken. I'm gonna level out the seat bottom, and the way to do that, you're just gonna take this tube here and you're gonna twist it clockwise until the seat comes up to a level position. And likewise for the seat back, obviously if I twist it one direction, the seat back moves forward. To get the seat back to recline, you're gonna push forward on that and rotate the tube the other direction as you sit back into the seat back. Same thing goes if you want to drop the level of the seat down. You're just going to push forward, turn counterclockwise, and sitting in the seat, the weight of your body will help that seat bottom go down. You do have a kickstand feature on this seat for a high and a low setting. So the seat naturally goes into the high position on the kickstands. If you want to drop the level of the seat down a little bit to get a lower center of gravity in the kayak, you can sit forward, pull the kickstand T-handle, and sit back down into the chair. And of course, you'll need to adjust the seat bottom down in this position and adjust the seat back up in this position. This ProAngler seat does have an adjustable lumbar support, so you can pull down to release the tension and sit back in the seat to kind of get a more concave seat back. Click that up into place, turn clockwise to increase the amount of lumbar support that you get in the seat. So find out what's comfortable for you, and this BOA is going to be your friend on the water. You may find yourself adjusting it several times throughout the day. Just like the BOA tensioning system on the seat back, you've got a BOA tensioning system here on the left side of the cockpit. What this does, it'll increase or relieve tension in the steering lines. So to increase tension, you'll want to push the BOA knob in and turn it clockwise. The amount of tension you have on the steering lines comes down to personal preference. However, if you're traveling a long distance or you're pedaling in chop and current, it is nice to put a little bit of extra tension on the steering handles. Your MirageDrive Pro Angler 360 will ship with a cassette plug, just like the MirageDrive 180 Pro Angler will. It's shaped a little bit differently, and it's inserted now. I've just pulled it out. You can see the shape's a little bit different, and it clicks in the same exact way as the drive. So I'm going to show you how to insert the drive. First, I should mention that very early on when we were shipping ProAngler 360s, the fins did come disassembled from the drive itself. We're now shipping those with the fins assembled to the drive. So if you did receive an early ProAngler with the fins off of the drive, check the product support page on Hobie.com, and there's a link to show you exactly how to do that there. Prior to installing the drive to the drive well, you want to make sure that the 360 control handle is pointed straight, as well as the indicator arrow. You want that to be straight. That way, when your drive is installed, everything is tuned just right. The indicator arrow is going to show straight, and it's going to match up with the control handle. So simply drop the drive in, push down and back toward the seat just a little bit. That red lever is going to click in, and the drive's locked into place. Removing the MirageDrive 360 from the drive well itself is pretty simple. You just want to make sure that the indicator arrow and the 360 control handle are pointed either straight forward or straight into reverse. You'll simply pull back on this red lever, so pull this back toward the seat, tilt the drive forward a bit, and pull straight up. To adjust the distance of the pedal from the seat to accommodate different sized users, you're simply going to pull up on this trigger and slide the length adjustment into the desired setting. The pedaling motion is similar to that of a bike. The setting on your cranks should allow you to achieve a full pedal stroke with your leg almost straight, but the knees still slightly bent and not locked out. Depending on if you've adjusted your seating arrangement throughout the day, you may want to adjust the crank setting slightly to match. Included with your kayak is a bungee hook, and this is used for securing the drive into a flat position underneath the hull. In the event that you hit an underwater obstacle, the fins are going to seamlessly kick up, and as you continue pedaling, the force on the trailing edge of the fin is going to push the fin back into position and lock it there so you can resume normal operation. In the cockpit, you'll notice 4 T-handles that control an important part of your kayak. We've already gone over the transducer retraction. T-handle retracted and cleated in will suck the transducer mount up into the hole. To release the transducer and expose the side imaging transducer below the kayak, give the T-handle a swift pull toward the center of the kayak and let it drop back into the hole. Same thing with your rudder. Your rudder deployment is going to be on the right side of the kayak via this T-handle. A swift pull toward the center of the kayak and release. That will drop the rudder down and give you freedom to steer left and right from either steering handle, or to retract the rudder back into the recess underneath the kayak. You'll pull straight back toward the seat and make sure that the nylon cord engages with the cam feature on the cleat. You've also got a tracking skeg that sits underneath the hole in front of where the rudder sits. You'll release that the same way, so a swift pull toward the center of the kayak releases the skeg and allows it to drop down. Learning how to operate your MirageDrive 360 Pro Angler just how you like is going to take a little bit of time in the kayak, but there are 3 factors that really play into the maneuverability. One is the rudder, which obviously is going to be your main mechanism of steering as you cross a large body of water or travel a long distance. The drop-down skeg is going to also help with tracking in those long distance runs. But when I get to a fishing spot, and you probably will feel the same, you're going to want to retract that skeg up and use the drive as your primary source of steering. Using the rudder and the drive together can allow you to pivot or crab walk sideways. This is no doubt the most maneuverable kayak on the market, and once you get used to it, you'll open up a whole new world of navigation. Pro Anglers will ship with 2 horizontal rod racks. You've also got a cup holder that accommodates everything from a soda can to a large Nalgene-sized water bottle, and you're free to place this on the H-rail wherever you'd like. To attach any of these H-rail accessories to the 12-sided H-rail mounting platform, go ahead and push open this red gate and then unlatch the knob from the clamp. That will allow the clamp to open up, fit around the rail, click the red knob into place and close the gate, and that'll fasten the accessory to the H-rail. One important feature to note on the H-rail clamp is that this knob is threaded, so you can actually adjust the tension. Every Hobie kayak comes equipped with a standard paddle. The Pro Angler series also come with this convenient T-handle, so you can use a single paddle easily if you'd like. I like to install the T-handle to one of my paddles, and if I ever need to maneuver out of a situation where the standard turning radius isn't quite enough, if I get stuck in a tight position, I can grab this paddle with the T-handle on it. Each Pro Angler kayak is going to come with an owner's packet. Inside that owner's packet, you'll have a detailed manual, so give that a read, especially if you have any questions, and to reference recommendations for storage and transport. You have a MirageDrive delivery checklist, so this ensures that you know all the pieces and parts have come with the boat. You've also got a warranty registration card, so go ahead and fill that out and submit it to us. That could come in handy in the future. For all your accessories needs, you can download a PDF version of the parts and accessories catalog on Hobie.com. Go there, click on gear, and at the bottom of that page, we have some downloadable brochures and catalogs. Look for the catalog titled Kayaking, Fishing, and Eclipse. You can see our entire line of parts and accessories so you can outfit your kayak to your liking. Now that you've got all the basic rigging out of the way and your kayak is ready to hit the water, make sure you wear a personal flotation device and close those hatches and have fun on the water. We'll see you out there.